Chapter 1. Vigshu Urim. The sun was going down behind the trees at the far end of the wheat field. Through the kitchen window over the sink, I watched as the last rays of light filtered through the tangled branches of the maple trees and bathed the sky in a red glow. Behind me, my mother hummed tunelessly to herself as she bent over the stove, and the smell of fried chicken filled the room. Soon my father and little brother would come in from doing their chores, and we would eat. Or at least that's what would have happened any other evening. All of a sudden, there was a rapid knocking at the front door. Thinking it might be my fiancé, Devon, I wiped my hands on the towel by the sink and hurried to let him in. When I opened the door, I was surprised to see a woman. The sun had now sunk completely below the western horizon, but I could clearly see her in the lights coming from the house. She was very tall and wrapped in a hooded black coat. Her skin was pale, surprisingly so, though her lips were as dark as cherries. She was breathing heavily as if she had been running, but her eyes were what captured my attention. They were deep black, and I could not look away from them. Between gasps, she said, "The little one! He is hurt! I think a snake has bitten him! Come quickly!" I stood as if in a trance and said nothing, but my mother pushed past me and hurried out into the yard, calling for my father. Still looking into my eyes, the woman said, "Come, my dear. They will need your help, too." As I stepped out into the yard, the woman straightened. She no longer appeared out of breath. She threw off her coat, and before I could react, she grabbed me, lifted me over her shoulder as if I weighed nothing, and dashed into the darkness. My screams sounded weak in my own ears. I pounded madly on the woman's back with my fist to no effect. I managed to raise my head enough to see my father and brother running after us, but my abductor's speed was astonishing. In moments she had carried me over the low rise to the east of our house and into a field of tall grass. She let me fall from her shoulder, caught me by the back of my hair, and pulled my head back. Fangs flashed in the dark, and before I could react, I felt them plunge into my neck. Then, as quickly as she bit me, she retracted her fangs. It only hurt for a moment, and then my body went limp. The vampire handled me with surprising tenderness, cradling my head in her hands as I collapsed onto the grass. I tried to fight, but my muscles would not respond. Then a sense of calm washed over me. I felt warm and protected. To my surprise, my fear was gone. The vampire must have seen my confusion, for she kneeled down beside me and whispered, "Have no fear, my dear. You will live to see your family again." She stroked my cheek gently with the fingers of her right hand, still cradling my head with her left. "Tonight, you and I will have some fun. In exchange for your essence that gives me life, I am giving you a gift of pleasure through my venom. You will experience something few humans will ever experience. Ultimate pleasure, or as my people call, Vigshu Udam. So release your fears and relax." She then bent over and kissed me on the forehead. I gasped as a wave of euphoria engulfed me. It was like nothing I had ever experienced. A joy too deep for laughter, and bliss far deeper than I could have imagined. "Who are you? What do you want?" I managed to ask. "Just some of your blood. No more than you can spare. Does that frighten you?" She smiled, showing her fangs. "A little," I said, although in truth the warm glow of pleasure I was experiencing all but drowned out my fear. "Will it hurt? Will I become like you?" "No, my dear, it won't hurt at all, and you will not become a vampire. All those stories you hear about us vampires are mere fairy tales to scare little children. Tonight will be an enlightening experience for you, one you will never forget for as long as you live. As I feed on your blood, my venom will allow our minds to share a special bond. We will share one another's thoughts, and you will get a glimpse into the world of a vampire. It is an enlightening experience, my dear, one few humans ever get to experience. It will change your life forever." I gazed into her eyes as she spoke, hypnotized by their black depths. As the euphoria overwhelmed me, I half heard what she said. She then cradled my face gently in her hands and asked, "Are you ready, my dear?" I simply looked up at her with trusting eyes and nodded. "Then, let us begin."